You're welcome back to Afia TV News Today, the discussion segment. And this afternoon, we'll be taking a look at the recent activities from Ebonyi State, where some of those in prison were asked to go that they've regained their freedom. And we would like to find out exactly what prompted the governor to be magnanimous enough to free some of them. And I think this will be stemming from some of the crises being witnessed in some of the communities. But we'll find out exactly in detail what this really means for the state government and going forward what they plan to do in that direction. I'm joined this afternoon on the news today by Dr. Ben Uruchiodo. He is the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Ebonyi State. He's also the chairman of the Bodies of Attorney Generals of Nigeria. Thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure, Alex.
So help us put in perspective what happened. I think it was about 7 days ago today.
Yeah.
Yes, so what was it about?
Yeah, the turning into reality the aspirational legacy of the government of my dear boss, Right Honorable Francis Ogbonawufu, the governor of Ebonyi State, who is unrelated in making sure that peace reigns in Ebonyi. And also part of prison decongestion program that this ministry, this administration is intentional about achieving. For the first time since the dispensation of democracy in Ebonyi State, a sitting governor paid a working visit to the custodial center of the correctional service to grant amnesty for 159 pretrial detainees that were arrested in the Afia and Afia communal war. They've spent four good years in the prison, and there was a peace committee that was set, chaired by the former governor, His Excellency Martin Wenche-Lechi, who made recommendation in his report, and then the report was accepted by the State Executive Council. Thereafter, there was a white paper that carried the report, and then the white paper was gazetted. And one of the recommendations of the white paper is the grant and declaration of amnesty, and then the radicalization and rehabilitation program of the state for the pretrial detainees of the Afia and the Afia communal war. So the governor looked at these recommendations, and because ESCO had approved it and contained there in the white paper and gazetted, he said, as a way of bringing lasting peace to the good people of Afia and the Afia, is to release the warriors and then rehabilitate them, de-radicalize some of them, and then from the custody. And that was what happened. There are about 159 of them, of these pretrial detainees. Like I said, they've been on holding charges. Even though they are, amnesty is more or less an exemption from prosecution. So governor didn't want the Ministry of Justice to prosecute them after they have been incarcerated for four good years, and he had to release them. And currently there is a demarcation of the land in dispute. Some areas have been taken by government to, like the forest, to be the federal government reserve. There are some areas that government have declared a buffer zone, and then there are the market also that is also in contention. Government have taken over that particular land. So that's what really happened, and it's a good development. The implication of this is that the government is so conscious with it, with the laws they have made about shifting from restorative justice that we made on ground using two approaches in crime management and crime disposal to restorative justice, which the mantra of the governor contained in the People's Charter of Need that have been our working document provide for. So it is an exemplification of restoration that we are out for using the restorative justice approach, reconciliation, the two parties, the ZAR and the FIOM, where they were being reconciled. Then reinstitution, people who have lost one or two things, the government is doing everything possible to reinstitute and make a compensation. And then reintegration, those of them that are radicals, government have released them, granted them amnesty to go and see no more, and this is a radicalization program so they don't become recidivists or go back to commission of such crime that took them to custodial center prison, and they're making them recidivist visitors to the prison. So that's what the government did on the 12th of this month, and is on record that since the creation of Ebonyi State, this is the first time a sitting governor is declaring and granting amnesty to pretrial detainees.
So, I mean, it's something commendable, and one will be asking, will it be sustained? Is there any plan for this to be sustainable? And the people who are pretrial detainees, they are not the only pretrial detainees. Is there a possibility that this will be something continuous? Yeah,
you see, there was a foul play that nearly came in. When we were profiling them, there were people from that two areas, the Efiom and the Zar Efiom, that were in detention prior to the communal war. So when we asked them to be profiled, so they wanted to outsmart by giving us the people that have been there have committed various degrees of offenses, they have committed different crimes. So they wanted them to be joined together in profile. They wanted them to be joined in the profiling. And we say, look, someone that have committed murder, someone that have committed armed robbery, and they have been in prison from that zone prior to the communal war, and you are now saying the person should be granted amnesty. We said no, those ones should face their charges and answer for themselves. But those ones are arrested by government. So what we did, we made sure that all the people that were arrested in respect of the communal war, that they were released, they were pardoned and they were released, and this program that we have in place. I'm sure because His Excellency, the Governor of the state, have started this, we now have a law establishing the Peace Committee, and then he also exercised, amnesty is not a right. It is at the inherent discretion of the governor of the state. He has exercised that. And for the sustainability of this, just also within this period in review, the governor just constituted the Council on Prerogative of Ebonyi State Council on Prerogative of Mercy, which the Honorable Attorney General, myself, was made the chairman by the governor. What does that take? Just to sustain what we have started. So I am sure this is not a reward for wrongdoing per se. It's not a reward for wrongdoing. Rather, it's a second chance. It's an opportunity given to these people, because punishment is not the end thing in incarcerating people, but sending them there for rehabilitation. So if government is out to see how these are our brother, they are our family, they are our parents, are being rehabilitated and mainstreamed back into the society without stigmatization and shaming, it's going to help us in the development of the state. So the sustainability of the program is there, sir.
All right, so let's talk about those reforms and rehabilitation for them, because that's where there's the real work. One thing is to release them, and two is to actually get them to a state where they can actually properly reintegrate in society. Okay,
you see, while they were there, government was so intentional about some of them learning skills. They went through this skill acquisition to enable them as they come out, have their own workshop, do one or two things, and then secondly, there are programs like footballs and all rehabilitation programs that can bring healing and unity among the disputants, and the community. So these things are already in place. Like I said, the government is out to make sure that they are better. And then we started out while they were in incarceration, and then most of them have learned one or two things. Some of them were there, and government paid for them to write WAEC. As they are out of the custodial center of the correctional service, they will be able to now use their WAEC and NECO result, which they obtain while in incarceration, to enter school. Government paid for them. The wife of the governor took it as a pet project last year to pay for those of them who are qualified to write WAEC. They were registered, they wrote WAEC. Some of them were in prison and wrote JAMB. It's just this rehabilitation and the radicalization processes. Now, some of them passed JAMB and passed WAEC, and then I say they want to further their education. Government, we did everything possible as government to attract Open University, to have a study center in the prison, you know, so that and they were given admission to continue. Now that they are out of that place, they will continue from the Open University outside the prison in furthering their education. These are the things government had to put in place before they were finally granted pardon.
Man, that's a good thing, but where would they go from here? So they'll go to school and they get employment like every other person.
Sure, they will do so. And then also, like I said, there are other plans that are unfolding, you know, but we're taking it bit by bit. We had another two communities that were into communal war. The Izulo and the Eza Izulo. A lot of people lost their lives and property. So what we have done now as a government is that, you know, we have to compensate the victims. We are starting with that one. We have built 140 units of 3-bedroom flats to give to those victims of the Ezulo and Eza crisis. They will be given by May 29th this year, when His Excellency will clock 2 years in office. Those 3-bedroom flats will be given to the victims that were affected by the Ezulo crisis. So they are in place, and they have about 140 units, at least for the first phase. So all these things are ongoing, and so there are laid down projects, and then laid down projects and laid down compensatory packages for the victims. And government intends to sustain it.
So, and in what other ways, especially through your ministry, is government trying to intervene in making sure that, well, if people are put behind bars, that surely they are supposed to be behind bars?
Yeah, you see, those of them that are, like I said, we were so intentional about releasing these pretrial detainees. And I told you they wanted, some of the stakeholders and the community leaders wanted as martyrs, but they couldn't. Reason because while we were profiling them, there were people from this community, the Afia and the Afia community, that were detained for various degrees of offenses prior to the communal war. So while we were profiling them, they had to put their names. But we said no. We went to their case file, so that these ones cannot be granted amnesty because they were not pretrial detainees of the communal war. They have committed various degrees of offenses. So those ones, we had to remove them from the profiled list of people to be granted amnesty, okay? So the essence of all these things is just like to see how we can, no matter what, not to use punishment and vengeance in crime management. And so those of them that are the competent court are found guilty of committing 1 or 2 offenses will go in for that. But the people who, because of the communal war, were kept there, government have to ask them to go home and see no more. The essence of this, sir, is just to create healing circle among them in that community. Because the more you keep them there, the more the war escalates. So just to release them, and then you see them. So, like I said, you know, they had to sign peace pact agreement. In the event of them continuing with the communal war, we'll get them back. So amnesty is not a one-way traffic. It's revocable. We revoke and rearrest them and then keep them back there. But just to see that there is absolute healing circle in that community.
All right. So I want to understand. I think in the past you've mentioned that His Excellency was planning to build a correctional center.
Yes, not that he's planning to build a correctional center. He's almost at the completion stage. Yes, because like I said, this declaration of amnesty, on another hand, is also the government's plan of decongesting the prison. You can imagine, as at the day we went, the 12th of February, that the governor went to the prison to declare this amnesty. We had 100 1,268 inmates in a facility that is meant to warehouse 287 inmates. And we were able to release 159 out of that number. You see, it is reducing. So because of the congestion of that custodial center, of Abakaliki Custodial Center, so government is building, and very soon they will hand over that to the Nigerian Correctional Service. It's almost at the completion stage. And the capacity of the prison that the government is building is 1212. That is 1,212 capacity of containing persons, as against the one that is built to warehouse 387. So what the capacity of the one that the government is almost completing now is 1,212 capacity.
I hope the walls are impregnable.
Very well. It has so many on the ground, so it cannot.
All right.
Yes.
So I mean, it's a good thing. Not a lot of states have ventured into building their own correctional centers, but then, on the other hand, if you have your correctional center, you hand it over to the correctional service, or will the state government still be augmenting the financing of that correctional center? Of
course, we have been augmenting. Even if we hand over, we'll still augment. We've been augmenting in terms of provision of health, medical facilities. We've been doing that as a state government. In terms of provision of Black Maria to be carrying them to court, government have been doing so. So there is no how government will shield itself from her responsibility. So we keep augmenting because it is that synergy. Okay, it is that synergy. One of the things that we've been able to do to show that there is a synergy, we've been able to come up with a Ebonyi State Council on Prerogative of Mercy guideline. So people who are now applying now to be granted pardon by the governor through the Council of Prerogative of Mercy must get an attestation letter from the controller of the correctional service to show that this person has repented, shown reasonable remorse, and the character is attested. That's to show you the working synergy between the Ebonyi State government and the Nigerian Correctional Service to be part of what we are doing, so that it will not just be that you release criminals who will become a threat to the society the next day. So we are intentional about it, and it's a collaborative approach. And the Correctional Service, like I said, even currently, as at 2 weeks ago, we already had an agreement where the Nigerian Correctional Service will post 13 officers to the 13 local government of the state who will be probation and parole officers, so that minor offenders that are sentenced to do community service will be supervised by these probation and parole officers in the 13 local government. And I've interfaced with the 13 local government chairman to provide accommodation for these Nigerian Correctional Service officers. So just to show that
correctional facility will be opened
very soon.
All right. Thank you so much. Dr. Ben Uruchiodo. He is the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Ebonyi State. He's also the chairman of Bodies of Attorney Generals of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you for thanking me and having me. Thank you.
On the news today. And to end the news, here is a reminder of our top stories. To end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. The Enugu State government has assessed the 2024-2025 performance of council chairmen. In Abuja, the Senate has summoned the National Security Advisor, security chiefs, and others over allegations of USAID funding. In business news, the Senate is to begin soon. We told you that South Korea's Yoon has appeared in court for a preliminary hearing. Thank you for watching the news today. Do follow us on all our social media platforms.
Welcome to Ashara Layout. There is no place like home.
I won't even think twice.
I would like to stay